This is ShadowQuant, Stocks, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Tuesday, June 9, 2026, and this is the New York pre-market. Now, let's get into it. QQQ is down 4.8% pre-market at $705.06, the biggest drop of the day. SPY's at $737.55, down 2.58%. The VIX is at 21.51, and the Fear and Greed Index is at 32, extreme fear. The market is in a state of acute risk-off. Let's start with the recap. Pulse, your call last session was bearish on QQQ, target $690. The market was flat. What's next?
Flat, but I still think the risk is skewed to the downside. The VIX is high, and the macro data is not helping. I'll stick with my call.
Grid, your QQQ call was also bearish, target $695. The market didn't move. Any changes?
I'm still watching the 10-day support at $704.32. If that breaks, I'll adjust, but for now, I stay bearish.
CIPHER, you called SPY bearish at $735.52. Market was flat. What's your take now?
I'm still watching SPY's 10-day range. If it holds above $735.52, I'll reconsider. But the tech sector is weak, and that's a drag.
SPECTER, your call was QQQ bearish at $690. Market was flat. What's next?
I'm not changing my view. The yield curve is flat, inflation is high, and the VIX is elevated. The market is still in a risk-off mood. I'll stay short.
Apex, your QQQ bearish call at $690. Market flat. What's your view now?
I agree with the bearish sentiment, but I'm also watching the earnings window. If semiconductor stocks like AMD and Nvidia show resilience, that could shift things. I'll stay on the sidelines for now.
The market is in a state of extreme fear. Fear and greed at 32, VIX at 21.51. Major indices like SPY and QQQ are down sharply. The 10-year 2-year yield curve is flat at plus 0.41 pp, and inflation remains above the Fed's 2% target. Macro conditions are not supportive of risk-on flows. Let's talk about QQQ first. It's at $705.06, down 4.8% pre-market. Grid, what's your take?
The 10-day support at $704.32 is critical. If that holds, we could see a short-term bounce. But if it breaks, the next level is $690. The volume is low, so any move is likely to be weak.
Pulse, what's the sentiment here?
Extreme fear, but there's a divergence. Semiconductor stocks like MU are up 4.8% pre-market. That's a sign of sector-specific optimism. It's a bit of a contradiction. The broader market is weak, but certain sectors are holding up.
CIPHER, what's the flow data look like?
We're seeing institutional positioning shift. The 10-day volume lows for SPY and QQQ suggest reduced participation, but there's a lot of focus on semiconductor earnings this week. If that data shows resilience, it could help the sector.
SPECTER, what's your take on the risk?
The risk is still skewed to the downside. The VIX is above 20 and the yield curve is flat. The macro data is not supporting a recovery. I'd be cautious. If QQQ breaks below $704.32, the next level is $690, and that's a big move.
Apex, how do these points connect?
Grid flagged the $704.32 support, but CIPHER showed that volume is low and participation is weak. SPECTER risk analysis confirms that a break could lead to further downside. The sentiment from Pulse highlights the sectoral divergence. It's a mix of technical, fundamental, and macro factors.
Moving on to SPY. It's at $737.55, down 2.58% pre-market. Grid, what's your read on the support levels?
The 10-day support at $735.52 is key. If SPY holds above that, it could stabilize. But if it breaks, the next level is $730. The volume is also low, so any move is likely to be weak.
CIPHER, what's the flow data for SPY?
The volume is at a 10-day low, which is not a good sign. SPY is in a 10-day range, and the broader market is in a risk-off mood. If the tech sector continues to underperform, SPY could follow.
Pulse, what's the sentiment here?
The fear is high, but there's a bit of a contradiction. Energy and real estate are outperforming, which is a sign of sector rotation. That suggests that investors are shifting away from tech and into more defensive sectors.
SPECTER, what's your risk outlook?
The risk is still high. The yield curve is flat, inflation is above target, and the VIX is elevated. The market is not in a position to support a broad recovery. SPY's support at $735.52 is important, but if it breaks, the next level is $730.
Apex, how do these points connect?
Grid pointed to the $735.52 support, while CIPHER noted the low volume and the broader market weakness. SPECTER confirmed the risk is skewed to the downside, and Pulse highlighted the sectoral rotation. It's a complex mix of factors.
SPECTER, you challenged Grid read on QQQ. Let's dig into that.
Grid thinks the 10-day support at $704.32 is key. But I think that level is not just a technical support, it's a reflection of the macro environment. The yield curve is flat, inflation is high, and the VIX is elevated. The market is not in a position to support a recovery. If that support breaks, the next level is $690, and that's a big move.
I understand the macro factors, but the technicals are still in play. The 10-day support is a key level. If it holds, we could see a bounce. If it breaks, the next level is $690, but the volume is low, so any move is likely to be weak.
And that's the problem. Low volume means the move is not supported. The market is not just reacting to technical levels, it's reacting to macroeconomic fear.
I agree, the macro data is not supportive of a recovery. The earnings window is coming, but the sentiment is still weak. The market is in a risk-off mood.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $704.32 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $704.32 by next session.
My 24-hour call, SPY bearish, target $735.52 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $690 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $690 by next session.
The consensus is bearish on QQQ, with support at $704.32 and a potential target of $690. SPY is also in a risk-off mood, with support at $735.52. Watch the earnings window and the macro data for any signs of a recovery. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Equities. Stay tuned for the New York session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.